Ever feel like life throws you a curveball, just when you think you've got things figured out?
Oh, absolutely. We've all been there. It's like, bam, out of nowhere, right?
Yeah, exactly. But today we're diving into a story that, well, it takes setbacks to a whole new level. A story that reminds us that even when things seem impossible, there's always a way forward.
This one's really going to make you think.
You're about to meet Nick Prefontaine and his journey. It's one you won't soon forget.
What gets me about Nick's story is he doesn't just overcome one massive hurdle. It's like he takes that experience and uses it to, create this whole system for tackling anything life throws at him.
That's what's so powerful about it. We're just drawing from this interview he did on the Ignition Path podcast. I was hooked from the first minute.
Yeah, definitely worth a listen.
It all starts with Nick, just as a regular 8th grader on a ski trip with his friends, full of that, youthful energy.
Right. Can't sit still.
Yeah.
Gotta go, go, go.
Exactly. Picture this. They get to the slopes, and while most kids are probably still figuring out how to stand on their skis, Nick and his buddies, they're ready to hit the terrain park.
And that's where things, well, they take a bit of a turn.
Detour doesn't quite cut it.
Oh. What happened?
Nick, he immediately sets his sights on the biggest jump. I mean, the biggest one out there. He even says in the interview, I charged towards the jump with all my speed. You can practically hear that fearlessness in his voice, that need to conquer.
Oh, wow. I know that feeling, that rush.
And then the last thing I remember is catching the edge of my snowboard.
Oh, no.
Now, this was back when, helmets weren't as common, and Nick, he wasn't wearing one. The result of this fall was, well, it was a traumatic brain injury.
That's heavy.
It really is, and this is where the story could have gone, really dark. But there are these almost unbelievable twists of fate.
Wait, really? Like what?
So he wasn't wearing a helmet, but his goggles, they were padded, and they ended up cushioning some of the impact as he was, tumbling down the mountain.
Yeah.
And get this, the helicopter that was supposed to airlift him to the hospital, it couldn't fly because of high winds.
No way. Seriously.
Seriously. And then the ambulance that took him, it just happened to have the only paramedic on duty who could do this specific type of intubation Nick needed to breathe.
You're kidding. Talk about beating the odds.
Right. It's almost eerie, and it doesn't end there. While Nick is in a coma, the doctors, they're prepared to give his parents the worst possible news. But this is where his mother, she's incredible. She becomes this pillar of strength for him.
It's got to count for something, that kind of support.
It's everything. Imagine this. Despite everything, Nick's mom, she holds on to hope. She insists that even in a coma, he can hear everything. She refuses to let any negativity, cloud his unconscious state.
Wow. Just wow. The power of belief, right?
It's a perfect example of how a positive mindset, even in the face of the unimaginable, can make a world of difference. And here's the thing. This is where we start to see the foundation of Nick's step system being laid, even if he doesn't even realize it yet.
It's like his subconscious was already absorbing those elements, support, trust, positive energy. Wild.
Exactly. It's as if these experiences were like shaping him, getting him ready for what's to come. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's back up a bit and really dig into this step system. Because it's at the core of Nick's message, his framework for overcoming any obstacle. And that's what we're going to unpack today.
Okay, so step, right.
That's right. Support, trust, energy, and persistence.
And it's like you said, it's bigger than just, getting back on your feet after an injury.
Exactly. Nick's story, it shows us how these principles, they can apply to anything, any challenge, really.
It's like a roadmap for life or something.
That's a great way to put it. So, support, first up.
Yeah, it really makes you think about who you lean on when things get tough.
Yeah, for sure. Who's in your corner no matter what? That kind of support, it's invaluable. But support's just one piece. Nick talks about trust, too.
Right, and not just trusting other people, although that's huge, but trusting yourself. Trusting that even if it's scary, things will work out.
Which can be so hard, right? Especially when you're dealing with a setback, it's easy to get stuck in that I can't do this mentality.
Oh yeah, that negative self-talk can be a real drag. But Nick reminds us we're stronger than we think.
Totally. And that's where the energy part comes in. Not just any energy, though. It's about using your energy in a way that lifts you up, not drags you down.
Like focus on what you can control, not what you can't.
Right. Exactly. Nick could have easily let this accident define him in a negative way, but he chose to use his energy to heal, to get stronger.
And that kind of ties into persistence too, doesn't it? Just that refusal to give up.
100%. Nick's whole mantra is like, keep showing up every single day, even when it's hard.
Small steps every day.
Exactly. Like, think about his recovery. Learning to walk again, little by little. It led to him, get this, running out of the hospital.
No way. He literally ran out.
Ran out. Less than 2 months after being admitted to rehab.
Okay, now that's persistence.
Yeah.
Talk about a testament to, not giving up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that same drive that we see when we look at the rest of Nick's life. Like, his career, it's amazing.
18 months after this accident, he's not only walking, he's thriving. He's killing it in the real estate world.
Which, when you think about it, it's almost like it's this perfect fit for him in a way. I mean, he's helping people who are going through their own tough times, people facing foreclosure, dealing with all that stress.
He gets it. He's been there.
Exactly. And you see that a lot. People who've been through something major, they often want to help others going through the same thing.
It's like their experience gives them this unique ability to connect, to empathize.
For sure. Makes you wonder, though, even when things are going well, sometimes there's that feeling that something's missing.
Oh, yeah, that little voice in the back of your head.
And that's exactly what Nick starts to feel.
Mm.
Even with the success he's found in real estate.
Yeah.
He starts hearing this voice telling him to do something more.
It's like this nagging feeling. At first, it's kind of quiet, but then it just gets louder and louder.
Yeah, you can't ignore it, can you?
No, not really. And Nick even says, he's like, there was always this voice in the back of my head telling me that I needed to help trauma survivors. He knew deep down, that he had a story to tell, a story that could help people.
Right, because when you've been through something like that, you have a different perspective, you know what I mean?
Totally. But it's one thing to think about it. It's another thing entirely to, actually put yourself out there like that.
Oh, for sure. That takes guts.
Major guts. And for a while, he doesn't. He's still figuring things out, just going with the flow. But then there's this speaking event back in 2019, and something changes.
Oh, what happened?
He shares his story, publicly, I mean. And afterwards, this woman, she comes up to him and she tells him straight up, your message is powerful. And she offers to help him refine it, get it out to more people.
Wow. That's pretty amazing, right? To have someone recognize that in you, that potential.
Totally. But even then, even with that, he still takes his time. I mean, it's a big decision, to put your story out there like that.
That's a very personal thing.
Exactly. So fast forward like a year and a half, and Nick, he finally reaches out to this woman. He's ready to go for it.
And that's when things start happening for him, huh?
Big time. He starts working with her, kind of as a mentor, and he launches his speaking career.
That's so cool. So he's talking about his experience to other survivors.
Yeah, he starts connecting with brain injury associations, giving talks, sharing his story. It's really incredible. And this is something we've touched on a bit. Even when you find your purpose, there are always new challenges, right?
Oh, tell me about it. They never really go away, do they?
Nope. And for Nick, one of those challenges comes in the form of this request. He gets asked to give this big keynote address, 75 minutes long.
Whoa. That's a pretty long speech.
It is. And up to this point, the longest he had spoken for was 35 minutes.
Wow. So this is double what he's used to. I can see how that would be, a little intimidating.
Totally. But true to form, Nick, he takes it on.
He doesn't shy away from a challenge, does he?
Not one bit. He spends hours crafting this presentation, making it even more impactful, digging even deeper into his story. And in the end, he delivers. 60 minutes, boom, plus a 15-minute Q&A.
That's awesome. I think what's so inspiring about that, it shows that those moments when we push ourselves, when we get outside our comfort zone, that's where the real growth happens.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And that experience for Nick, it was huge. It was it gave him this boost of confidence, in himself, his message.
Right. If he can get through that, he can get through anything.
Yeah.
And, his story, it's not just about overcoming this one event. It's bigger than that. It's about realizing that we all have this strength inside us. We can bounce back from anything.
And his step system, it's the perfect reminder of that. Support, trust, energy, persistence, those 4 things, they can get you through anything.
No matter what life throws your way.
Exactly. So as we wrap things up here, we want to leave you with this. What's one small step, just one, that you can take today, right now, towards something you've been putting off? It doesn't have to be huge. Even the smallest thing can make a difference.